What up? What up? What up? It's Rec League Podcast, man. It's episode number 55. Feel like I've been doing this for a while. Uh, it's always fun though. My name is Randy Little if you new to this thing. Um, on this episode, it's it's just Zack Snyder's Justice League reaction. It's my guy Eric Sigmund, Nick Goodman, and we have a guest, my guy Heck Thor on Instagram. He pops in and chops it up with us. The highs, the lows, talking about how the theatrical version was mishandled, everything that was good, everything that just celebrating that Zack Snyder's Justice League is a win for Zack Snyder after we were told it didn't even exist. Um, I did do a poll question a couple days ago, like St. Patrick's Day. I just thought it'd be fun. I asked what movie was the most Irish, and the options were Rudy, Leprechaun, The Departed, and Boondock Saints. Boondock Saints and Leprechaun won, like they tied with like 47%. Um, The Departed had like 7%. And then recently in the theater, I don't think nothing's come out, to tell you the truth, because Raya and the Last Dragon and Chaos Walking were 2 weeks ago. The last episode was 2 weeks ago. Cherry was on Apple TV Plus last weekend. Still is, of course. And then Zack Snyder's Justice League is on HBO Max. So there's nothing new in the theater. Next weekend in the theater, Nobody, the action movie with Bob Odenkirk, is coming. And then Godzilla vs. Kong is on Wednesday the 31st. Recently, on Blu-ray and DVD, Promising Young Woman came out. And then this upcoming Tuesday, News of the World with Tom Hanks comes out, and so does Soul on Blu-ray and 4K and all of that, DVD. And then the Tuesday after, Wonder Woman 1984 comes out. So be on the lookout for those. And I think I flew through this intro faster than I normally do, but I think I covered everything, man. So don't go nowhere, man. We coming back. We talking Zack Snyder's Justice League, man. It's Rec League. What up, movie geeks? It's Zack Snyder Justice League celebration hour, maybe two. I got my regular guys, Eric Sigmund, Nick Goodman, and Hector, man. I let new guys introduce themselves, plug their social media and all of that. So tell the kids where you're at.
So guys, my name's Hector. I'm on Instagram. You can find me under HeckThor. That's HEC_THOR. I just, love to collect physical media, collectibles, particularly just DC stuff. But I have a little bit of everything, a little wide variety of range of stuff.
Cool. Very dope account. Give him a follow. Eric, Nick, are y'all going to have an aneurysm if we don't talk about Oscar nominations?
No, we don't have to discuss that. There's plenty of times to discuss
I am going to have an aneurysm. No, I'm just kidding. No, we don't have to. I don't care.
All right, I want to go around like I did Eddie Murphy. So no explanations, just like what's your top 3 DCEU movies. Screw whoever said Zack Snyder's Justice League isn't canon. If it's in your top 3, call it out. Hector, start us off, man. What's your 3 favorite?
That's real easy. All the 3 movies that Snyder did: Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and the Snyder Cut.
That's it. Boom. I ain't even got to say mine.
That's it.
Mine's kind of lame.
Nick, give us your lame 3.
All right. Well, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I do know. Okay. I've got Batman vs Superman at number 3. Shazam at number 2. And Wonder Woman at number 1.
That's not
Am I a girl?
Nah, that's not lame.
I don't like. I give most of them the same ratings. It's just in terms of ranking. I'm like, I loved Shazam. I thought Shazam was like outstanding.
Yeah, it's kind of underrated.
Little bits, like in the aftermath of it, like once it came out and everything.
I'll watch it during Christmas.
I thought about doing that.
Eric, what you got?
Now, mine is simple. Number 1, Man of Steel. Number 2, ZLJL. Number 3, Wonder Woman.
All right.
I'm the only one that just doesn't love Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I think I'm the last guy on like Earth that like doesn't. I like it.
It's more like.
But it's like my third to last.
It was just like the realism of Kevin Costner telling young Superman that he should have let his classmates die, and then like looking outside and seeing a dude flying across the sky. It wasn't like the Dark Knight as far as realism, but it was pretty much like, what if you're just living your life and a dude just has all these powers? And then Michael Shannon's performance as Zod is still the best in the whole universe.
Oh yeah, there definitely hasn't been a villain, in my opinion, as good as his. Man, Zod was just, I don't know if Darkseid will get there, but yeah, he did an incredible job. Zod, such an iconic performance.
I'm like the only asshole that thinks Jesse Eisenberg is great in Batman. I think he's outstanding. I think it's a great performance.
I like him. And that scene on the yacht was just like, oh, like he's going to the Lex Luthor that everybody knows. Like that,
exactly.
Especially in Zack Snyder's Justice League. That shit was better than the mid-credits Justice League scene. Man, that's my thing. Like, I hope that reaction is strong enough that whoever runs Warner Brothers, whoever made the call to actually release this movie, like sees the reaction and the positivity coming from it, the Rotten Tomatoes score that everybody hinders their opinion on, and gives him the go. Like bro, finish your trilogy. Like the fans want this shit.
Yeah, like just do it. It's like we've obviously like you can just make the
yeah.
It's like you did with Jared Leto's Joker. Like you just make the necessary changes to whatever people aren't really gonna care. They're just gonna be like, well, he doesn't have tattoos, so it's not canon.
Yeah.
Like Lex Luthor can just change a little bit. It's not that big a deal. And there you go.
I just want to jump in and talk exactly about the Snyder Cut. And if we get caught up in conversation and spoil something, like this is the warning for if you're watching, if you're listening, spoilers are possible. So if you haven't seen the movie,
definitely there'll be spoilers.
Come back in a week.
I'm gonna just talk about it.
Yeah, Eric, what you think?
Well, I think Hector needs to give me that Joker poster over his shoulder. But about the movie, that's amazing that several studio executives called what ultimately would become the Zack Snyder Justice League unwatchable.
Bruh.
And then those same studio execs released what was the actual version of Justice League. That's so unbelievable to me. I just wanted to get that out, but
something's bleeding.
The Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut, I loved it. It's Zack Snyder had a story to tell. He had an epic story to tell, and he told it. He told it very well. It's just amazing how, at a glance, people are saying, it was the same movie. I watched the first 10 minutes of it, it looked the same when it's literally all different. And but yeah, no, I watched the movie twice, like Nick. I watched it last night too. Again, I watched it last night, and it's just the length doesn't bother me. It goes by. I think it's impressively well paced to be 4 hours.
Yeah,
3 hours and 54 minutes without credits.
Bro, when Bruce popped up in Barry's like lair or whatever, I looked at how much time was left. I was like, this is the full length of Justice League, and we're only at recruiting the Flash.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
The Flash didn't show up for an hour into the movie because I looked. It was his first scene.
It's crazy. It's just if you have a decent story to tell and you find a good way to tell it, pacing and all that. And I wanted to touch on something. I don't want to get too deep into it. So, Scorsese had said something about comic book movies not being cinema.
Here comes the tangent.
I understood what he said about that. He's referring to specifically the conveyor belt mentality of releasing these superhero movies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. But as actual cinema in like film, you got all these epic length movies like Cleopatra, Ben-Hur, more modern. You got Titanic, even more recent, The Irishman.
Yeah.
But then a couple of years ago, Avengers Endgame, when it was announced it was going to be 3 hours, we didn't blink an eye. We wanted it. It was great. And these movies are now being respected and made with the respect like one would have made The Godfather with, because these are just stories and characters that happen to be superheroes. And why can't these stories be epic like any other movie? And I'm glad that this has happened, and filmmakers now know they can do these type of long length movies. But yeah, that's my thing. I love the movie.
Hector, what you got? You said it was in your top three. Elaborate.
Much, but what's that mean? Or
Hector, you said it was in your top threes. So give us a mini review.
Oh, yeah, man. I just there's just I saw every time I have a kid, and every time I try to rewatch the entire thing, I get cut off trying to soak in other little Easter egg things that I didn't catch the first time, and things like that, and so real thought out, review of how you feel, because it's just so long. And for instance, yesterday I was watching the scene with Lois Lane and Diane Martha, and I didn't even notice that there was a freaking pregnancy test right there in the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
And that and then the Zack Snyder cameo, and there's just every time like I said, and I think it's gonna be one of those movies where every time you watch it, you pick up on something else, and I'm sure there's some things that were seen in the background in that vision that Cyborg had prior to Barry Allen striking the mother box with Darkseid and Superman, and so it's just so much to soak in. But yeah, man, I just can't. Cyborg for me, like everyone else, totally just blew my mind as to why they would cut it from the original cut. But I just think about that whole exchange between him and his dad, how that resonates with so many people, man. Especially with his dad missing his football games and stuff. That hit home for me, and I'm like, damn, that just took you places where you weren't even expecting to go, and so I think I don't know. I'm not holding my breath for them to make us the other two, but if it happens, it's cool. But they according to Snyder, they didn't think they would let him do his Snyder cut, but here we are. So never say never.
That's right. Nick, what you got? We were in the group chat talking about Cyborg specifically.
All right. Well, I'm a little more conservative with my review. I thought it was great. Don't get it it's this epic. It's great. But I made a notes of positives and negatives, and they're the same length. So I don't think I clawed my eyes out over it the way everyone else did. But I still I loved it the same way. First off, just off the bat, I hated the aspect ratio. I get it, why they wanted to do it that way. I hated it. I don't know why, but it was I never didn't notice it.
But your aspect ratio compared to me and Eric's aspect ratio is different.
Was it?
Yeah.
We're talking about right now on the call.
Well,
Ewan.
Shut up. Anyway, and then even within immediately, within the first 5, 10, 20 minutes, I noticed things. Now I'm assuming this isn't. He had to do reshoots and do all this stuff, so it's not like he went to Warner Brothers with this 4-hour cut and like slid it across the table. Like, here you go. But like, if like in my head that's what happened, so I'm like, if I'm working at Warner Brothers and he gives me this movie and I sit and watch it, I would have looked at him and been like, we can't release this in theater. Like, this is too long. Like, there's so much slow-mo. I couldn't get over that, like, immediately. Not just, like Flash stuff. Like, I get that. It's like the Flash is so fast, you have to show him running slow.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. It was like the first scene with Lois Lane, she comes walking out, and she's just, like, slow. And it's like a 5-minute scene, and it could have been, like, 30 seconds. Aquaman, you know, he jumps in the water, and he's drinking, and it's real slow, and the women are singing. I didn't get that.
How else does Aquaman look like a badass other than slow motion?
They do it like 3 times. It's like, all right, first time he's walking, okay. And it's like the football game, like the same thing. It's like, okay, look, this is Victor. But then it's like, touchdown. And okay, yeah, it's like, okay.
I think that's real common. I don't mean to cut you off, bro. But I just, with football in general, like, just, it's like, you know, I think it's very common with plays are in slow mo and the action. It's action. Things that are taking place that, you know, in slow mo makes it more dramatic. A touchdown, you know, celebration, diving. It's in slow mo. It's like just more, just as far as like that.
I'm right. Everyone else is wrong. And like the only other thing, it was like everyone made a big deal out of Kiersey Clements getting cut. Her scene didn't add much.
It was one
story.
scene.
I'm gonna be the asshole that says it. They could have put that in a Flash movie, and it would have made more sense to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm an asshole. I don't know. I feel like they added it back in because he wanted to put in everything that he wanted to be in the movie. That's pretty much it. I also thought the R rating was kind of unnecessary. Like,
yeah, it's a soft R.
Yeah,
like
for
all
sure.
the F-bombs just seemed kind of forced, and like the blood seemed kind of unnecessary. Anyway, that's pretty much all the negative.
But you don't get how much
positives.
Batman will kill Joker unless he fucking kills him.
Says, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I was like, that Batman's F-bomb.
And trust, I will
But
fucking
come on,
kill
at least
you.
with the cyborg one, that was a good line.
Yeah, that was great.
How you felt? Come on, that was.
I mean, I guess, I don't know. Whatever. Like, I didn't hate it. Like, I'm not mad. Like, I didn't like the language. Like, I'm not mad. I just, like, it wasn't.
So,
It seemed like
Mr. Snyder, if you're listening for baby ears over there, let's cut the language from Army of the Dead.
Yeah. He was just like, how about instead of saying this, you say, fuck the world really loud? And he was just like, ooh, okay. Positives. All the stuff with Victor and his dad was like, I'm just in my head, that was already there, and Joss Whedon came and cut it all out. I'm like, how did you think that wasn't vital to the story? Like, it added the whole different layer, not just to Cyborg's story arc, but like to the whole movie. Like, it added a whole new, like a new layer of fact. And it was like, so I thought all that was great. And, you know, spoiler, you know, him dying, like when he did, like doing the thing, that makes so much more sense than the way that plays out in the actual version. Like, it's just like, this is so much better. Like, they have real stake in this battle that they're doing now. Like, whatever. And like, Steppenwolf, I like, for the first maybe 40 minutes, I was like, he looks cooler, but is he any more interesting? But like, as it went on, like, he became way more like this whole thing with Desaad and Darkseid, and like I was like invested in that by the end. I was like, God, I hope he doesn't disappoint him. I hope he wins. And, like, that was cool.
The dude just wants to go home, man.
That's what I said. Like, I was like, you know, I get it. And like, he looked so much again. Like, why? At first, I didn't care. Like, when they started putting out all the Steppenwolf pictures, like, I didn't care. They were like, look at this majestic. I was like, I guess he looks cooler, but like,
shiny.
It doesn't make him different. But like, he looks way cooler than he did in the theater. Like, why did they look at that and think we have to change this?
Yeah.
It's the most generic shit.
And it's not just for show. His suit was functional.
Yeah.
Like, when the arrows were on him and he like did the thing, and
He fucked up. He fucked up the Amazons.
Yeah, dude, that scene was insane, bro. Like he just straight slaughtered him. I was like, that scene right there, I kind of noticed that that's things that I love about Zack Snyder. What he does, it's like the little things, right? Like he gave it's like little mannerisms that he does with characters that I just absolutely love. Like he gave his axe like its own like the way with the lightning every time he swung it, like it just kind of improved like the the purpose of the axe. Like the axe has like a character. Other things like Wonder Woman, the way she took off her shield is just incredible in that scene where she's fighting Steppenwolf, and it's just like her swagger changes versus the way we saw her in Wonder Woman 84. Even the first Wonder Woman, it's just little things, little mannerisms that he makes these actors do that most probably won't notice, but that I personally appreciate. Like she was like straight Spartan badass. Like just it was pretty cool. That's what I really liked. It was the demeanor of all the characters was just different.
Yeah,
that was fine. Next thing was I thought the whole cast was like outstanding. Like everybody, they were good in the theatrical version. Like I think me and Eric, we always say like we didn't hate the theatrical version really. Like if we're gun to our head, like it was fun. Like Randy, you hate it.
I didn't hate it either.
But
in 2017, I gave it a 4.5.
Yeah, like coming out of the theater thinking that's what we got, I was still just kind of on the high, like, oh,
yeah,
Justice movie, Jesus Christ, they did it.
Yeah,
but like the whole cast was so good. And like they were, like I said, they were good the first time around. But like even the Flash in the theatrical version was just kind of there for the quips.
Dostoevsky.
Like drawing on the dude's face, like it was all funny, but like they added stuff in this one, like his scene, the scene, the time travel, not even time travel, but like the speed turning scene. That was good stuff. Like I was like, dude, and like he did the whole thing, like the whole cast, like I don't know, Ben Affleck just as Batman, it's just a gift.
Dude, he's my favorite live action Batman, and Bruce Wayne.
Man. I mean, it's that. I mean, and then like, I don't know. But I said the nightmare sequence. To touch on that could probably be like a whole conversation in itself. Yeah. But I thought that was cool. I thought the scene was cool. It might have even been like the best scene in the movie. I don't know. But it like also I felt like it shouldn't have been in the movie. Maybe again, I'm an asshole, but I feel like he put it in there because he thinks deep down like he's not going to get to do that.
Yeah.
So he wanted to film something else of his like vision. So in that regard, I thought it was like amazing. It was like a perfect scene of comic book cinema. Like I was like, oh my god, I love this. Yeah. And like with just capital, I thought Jared Leto as the Joker was outstanding. Yeah. Like it's cool to say that because he didn't get to.
I gotta say, I'm sorry, Nick. Before I forget, I gotta say this. This is one of the best lines in any comic book movie. To anybody who's a comic book fan, you sent the boy wonder to do a man's job.
Yeah, that was
that
was pretty messed up, man. That was cool.
I know exactly what that means.
Yeah. I love the William Dafoe's appearance and how he looked. He looked like he was like he's going through some shit. Like with when he talked to Aquaman, I was like, wow, man. The whole look was different, and I like that Mera she kind of cleared up why was the the Ocean Master helping out and sending out the cavalry to come and help. And I thought it was cool how they, and so I was impressed. Speaking of which, I'm still kind of thrown off why they took out her British accent in Aquaman because
that's what I was thinking.
Technically, Justice League was supposed to be out before. The Snyder Cut was supposed to be out before Aquaman. I'm just kind of curious why they changed that in the Aquaman movie.
I think that's just a creative decision by Warner.
I might have an answer for that. Like her British accent was not that great. She went in and out with that British accent because it was even parts where she first showed up that I was wondering if she was doing an accent. I was like, am I just hearing things?
It's real
like,
soft.
Can't be here. You can't do this. I was like,
but also remember this, y'all. You got to think. Snyder was a producer. Basically, he was the unofficial Kevin Feige for a moment.
Yeah.
So you got to think when the Snyder cut, when he was doing his Man of Steel, BVS and stuff, everybody else was writing their movies based on what he was doing. You know, so
and they were good.
Yeah,
like that's some of some of them were good. Wonder Woman,
Aquaman, they were.
I think Aquaman is a great movie. I don't know.
I love Aquaman.
Yeah.
I think Aquaman is great.
Yeah.
And like explain that to 12-year-old me that we're gonna have an Aquaman movie and it's gonna be great. Like it's gonna be like one of the biggest movies. And I'm like, shut up. Stop.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling to that's what I was telling my buddy. Like it or hate it, you know, it's fine to be like it's fine to be hated. Wonder Woman 84, like it's either way, it's cool. But you can't sit there and tell me that there's not a distinct difference between the first Wonder Woman and the second Wonder Woman, and whether it's apparent with Snyder's involvement in the first one is obvious versus the second one. It's kind of, that's very telling to me. Like something happened.
Yeah.
There was a shift in creative, and it's very obvious. Let's look at these two movies, and whether his involvement in 84 would have mattered or not, we don't know. But it's very obvious because the two movies, even the tone is a lot different.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask y'all this. No, I'm sorry, Nick.
Whatever. I'll just stop. Okay.
I don't think. Well, y'all tell me if y'all think this is a coincidence or because I think. Me personally, with
coincidence.
Who I am as I don't know if y'all know this, but anywho, so there was a mandate for the theatrical version of Justice League to be 2 hours with credits.
Wow.
All right, so it could be more showings. But anyway, so something happened in Whedon's version compared to the Zack Snyder movie that I noticed, and it's crazy. So Joe Morton, who plays Cyborg's father, he's basically a co-lead in Snyder's version, right?
Yeah, he's important as hell.
Yeah. And this is funny. So spoilers. This is funny. His role is shorter in the theatrical version, and he lives, but his role is longer in Snyder's version, and he dies.
That was the biggest thing to me. I was like, I understand that somebody watched this and was like, we have to cut this in half. Like, it's like somebody was like, we have to cut like an hour and a half out of this movie. I get that to an extent, but I was like, how did you land on that storyline and think we need to take this, we need to change that part of this movie?
They literally Kano'd the movie. They snatched the heart of the movie out.
Yeah,
like come on. Like, and then like seeing, I was like surprised at how much of it was the same, or at least like how much of it was like the story was the same story, more or less. I was like, wow. But like knowing, like having seen it now and knowing specifically what they took out versus what they put in, it's like embarrassing.
It's like they were purposely trying to make a mediocre movie.
Yeah, it was like
with the theatrical version.
All of that, you know.
In the theatrical movie,
I know you want to do it.
That cemetery.
What?
Jokes, like you really thought that was it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Different.
Oh no.
Yeah.
In the theatrical movie, how did they find where like the mother box stronghold was? Because Silas set up that third mother box to be that beacon. They completely reshot how Steppenwolf got the third box in the theatrical movie.
Yeah.
He just shows up and gets it.
It's still on that car.
It's even in my note. Like
you guys are in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole Superman thing. It's like they're distracted and they turn around. He's like, "Ooh," and then exactly like that. And I was like, "Who thought?"
Like Flash couldn't have just ran and got it off the car.
Yeah, I was like, "Who thought that was the move?" Like they were like, "Just have him show up and be like,
Whedon."
Right. Like. But
I'm not saying the Snyder Cut is perfect as is. Like I said, I get why you look at that and think, "Oh my god."
Yeah, even with his flaws, it's great.
Especially after Batman versus Superman. That's something people kind of forget.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's
Batman vs Superman came out. It was like 3 hours long almost, and everyone hated it.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
Fuck
I
you.
thought it was great. But like, a lot of people, like, you look at its Rotten Tomato score, it's like 20-something%.
Bro, fuck Rotten
Yeah, it's like
Tomatoes.
27, 28.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous. But at the same time, it's like, dude, everyone picked that movie apart. So acting like we don't understand why Warner Brothers was nervous, like, I get it. I'm like, you look at this 4-hour, like Eric said, like Ben-Hur of a superhero movie. It's like,
and it's understandable, but they weren't just nervous; they panicked.
Yeah,
they acted.
That's
on
the thing, right? And
that's the difference between Disney.
that's my thing. And I don't know if I said it in my YouTube video, but I was telling my boys last night, like, Zack Snyder's movies and what he had planned are the most Marvel of any DC movies. He had a through line from Man of Steel to his third Justice League movie that was all a flowing story arc. And this every other DC movie is just this individual story that they sprinkle in these connections into, but they're more colorful and they have more humor. So those are the Marvel movies of DC, and they panicked and they fucked up after BVS came out.
It's just like Warner Brothers don't know why Justice League did not do well in the theater. Like, still to this day,
they should now.
Here, we're talking about the reason why it didn't do well. They still can't figure out. They were like, good, bad, who cares? It should have made $1 billion. Like, they don't understand.
Their replacement director beefed with the most important actor on set and took out his whole story.
Oh, speaking of which, the coincidence I was about to make, I forgot about that. No, with Ray Fisher and that. So I mentioned Joe Morton, how his role is bigger and expanded. So Whedon, in his version, he basically took out every minority character that was in Snyder's version.
He did.
So think about that. Iris West.
He did.
Took out Ryan Choi. He took out he took out Henry Lennox on Martian, and he took out Cyborg's mom. I mean,
he did.
Cool.
I wanted to see Choi suit up.
Yeah.
And then he did what he did with Cyborgs in his dead story. No, go ahead.
No, he's very much justified. Like, he's winning. A lot of folks are feeling stupid now for bashing him over his little campaign the last couple of years, but he's very well justified, and just by watching this movie alone, you can see everything that he's been holding back. I'm sure they're contracted to keep quiet as far as the performance in the film and what was supposed to be, and now he's literally won the world over based off this performance in the Snyder Cut. And it's something that I've never seen happen before, ever, and it's just makes you just wonder why. It kind of makes you raise a lot of questions. The same questions that the awareness that he's been trying to spread as far as production and the boss and who's in charge and the motives behind it. And because I wasn't getting tired of it, but I was a little skeptic of his true intentions and what he was really talking about. But man, it's just incredible. Just watch the movie and you can see like the potential. Like these movies kind of like Marvel, for example. Like, look at these actors. Look at the core actors. They essentially really have made a living off of the same characters. Like, they don't really have to play in other movies before. Like, this movie, Cyborg, he can really live off he could make his wealth off of this kind of film, and playing Cyborg for God knows how many movies you can make off of that. And so, like, there's I think it's warranted now, especially, and I see a lot of blogs that are changing their tone as far as Ray Fisher's stance on it, and I really hope that either they apologize or something and make
right.
I
kind of knew it was legit because the way his tone of he doesn't care if his acting career goes away.
Yeah.
A lot of actors do it to actually boost their career.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of got he might be very genuine with the problems that were happening.
I wanted that Cyborg solo movie too.
Oh yeah, man, that would have been.
No, I didn't want it. Like, back, I'm just gonna say, like 4 years ago, but that when Warner Brothers was like doing their thing, where they were like, there's gonna be a Cyborg movie and a Robin movie and a Joker movie and a Harley movie and a Harley movie. Like, they were just going off, and I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I was like, I don't need a Cyborg movie. Now, I would watch the shit out of it. Like, that Cyborg doing that, maybe leading into, I don't know, Teen Titans or something. I don't know. But, like, even then, it's like, ooh, there's a lot you could do with that.
Nah,
But,
dude,
like,
we need Blue Beetle and all these other obscure characters that aren't gonna connect and push their universe forward.
yeah.
Our man.
Crazy.
It's
And it's like what
it's like,
Nick said. You go.
Yeah. Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, I get to an extent, like I keep saying, like, why they would want to kind of lighten up the tone, like, because Batman versus Superman was like historically panned. Like, it came out, broke records, and was huge. And like the second week, it
did take a
had,
nosedive.
like a historic second week drop because the word of mouth was just like, oh my god, bring a lunch, go see this movie and like sit there.
Yeah.
Like,
And that speaks to, I guess, the casual moviegoer is the minority when it goes to movie watcher, right? Movie watchers. And the irony of people complain when a DCEU is not like Marvel, and they complain when they try to be like Marvel.
Yep.
yeah, that was my biggest thing. I was like, they were trying so hard in the beginning to like not look like they were copying Marvel with the whole universe building thing. And I was like, you are. Like, everyone knows, like, Marvel did it. It's already done. Like, Marvel had already done the first Avengers. Like, they did it. They could have stopped after that. They did their thing and kept going. You're copying Marvel. It's like, at least commit to it. Like, do it well. Like, try to be like, no, we're doing it. We're introducing 5 characters.
But you know what? The whole thing of universe building in movies isn't new in the first place. You go back to the old Universal Monster movies.
Yeah.
You know, before the Marvel movies, a director that built universes and multiple movies was Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Most of
yeah, so let them do it. It's no big deal. They can both do it, and they can both be
Yeah.
good.
It's like, try at least commit to it and like do it well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
my impression was always, and they can say the contrary to this. I don't care. My impression was always that, like, when they did Man of Steel, the intention was not to do the universe. That's why it took 3 years for Batman vs Superman to come on. That, to me, like, when I watched Man of Steel, this is its own movie.
Yeah.
What's his name was not Hunter. He was just there.
Yeah.
Because now we look like he was like the whole time.
I honestly
I'm
think
like,
Snyder
no.
probably had that in the back of his head the whole time.
Maybe in the back of your head, he was thinking weird
But you
stuff.
got to think that they originally wanted Green Lantern to be the first movie.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what I
wow.
mean?
I didn't even realize
Yeah.
that.
Green Lantern
Yeah.
was supposed to be the jump off for the DCEU
And then that was crapping, and then they panicked and restarted. And
because Angela
I
Bassett
guess-
was Amanda Waller.
Yeah,
wow, that's true.
I'm just trying to figure out if they panic, if we panic after Batman versus Superman, they really think with all those brainiacs that are in charge of that corporation that our answer to our panic is going to be the Joss Whedon's Justice League.
That's the
follow-up.
thing.
Like, it's just weird to me, bro.
That's
Like,
an insult to the audience.
Yeah.
It's very clear that the trust was gone. There was no trust with Snyder and Warner Bros. It was not there, and this is an unpopular opinion for me. That's where I come from. I'm glad. Like I'm glad we didn't get that Marvel formula. Like, I don't want to see all 5 of these characters individual movies and then let them team up at the end and then go through another phase. Like, we just got done with a Nolan, very roller coaster of a emotional Nolan trilogy, which was really good. Of a whole Batman from the rise to the end, all like another origin. Like, why do we have to do another origin? And I was glad that we didn't have to do that all over again. Like, with
Because you get fatigue.
and they didn't trust him. They didn't trust Snyder, which is why we didn't get to see the Snyder cut, where he kind of shows to the audience that we can do this without having an individual, team up movie, and let them have their own standout movies and then team up. Like, but the trust was gone, and
I was kind of liking that they were going that route too. They was coming and then doing them after, but yeah, it's like I said, it prevents superhero movie fatigue. And because of that, I'm glad that the MCU had this 1 year break. You know, I mentioned that before. I don't know if it was off the mic, but I think that's going to help when these movies come back. Any superhero movie to the big screen or whatever. But yeah, it's like you said, they just, and it's real jacked up. And we all know they had a sigh of relief. It's effed up. But we know when Snyder's unfortunate event happened in his life,
Yeah.
we know Warner Brothers was like, okay, it's going to be easier to push him aside.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's
And that's terrible.
Like,
Yeah.
they should be.
Hell yeah.
Like I keep saying, like, I get why they would be nervous. I get why they wouldn't want to release a 4-hour version or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, ultimately, that was what it took for them to, like, do their master plan. And, like, that's embarrassing. Like,
Yeah.
they should be, like, even if they don't let him, he should be, like, ashamed of, like, how they, just because of that. Even if they still think the theatrical version is better. Like, I'm sure there's someone out there that thinks, I like the shorter, funnier version. Like, they should be
Trash.
They should be, like, embarrassed because of that. Because that sucks.
But yo, like after the returns from BVS, like we know what happened next. They locked David Ayer out of his own editing room. So
Yeah.
do we think the Ayer cut happens now?
That's a slippery slope because you got to realize, as successful as this the Snyder HBO Max version is, you got to realize all the other people that don't want the filmmakers to have final call, and you know,
Hey,
because it opened up the floodgate.
you want the Eric Stoltz Back to the Future? Don't come at me.
Hey man, hey.
Hey, there's a Mrs. Doubtfire rated R cut, so I mean it's gonna start a trend of
Yeah.
like serves,
That was trending.
serves
Yes.
You're correct, Eric. Like it starts to like like this chain reaction now. There's gonna be
But
with that.
the thing is, what do studio executives like?
Money.
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 And if they see money in it, it'll happen. And I think David Ayer deserves to have, like you said, they locked him out of his own movie, the edit process, and brought in a company that edits movie trailers to edit the movie.
Wow.
And it's noticeable.
Yeah, that's just generic. In Guardians of the Galaxy ripoff is what we get for the theatrical version of the movie. Like, oh, Harley Quinn is nuts. Let's play some random Eminem.
15 minutes introducing every character one after another.
Yeah. And the whole and introducing several of them twice. Will Smith. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
then
yeah,
Slipknot. It's like, oh, that's Slipknot, the guy that can tie anything. It's
yeah,
like,
they literally no, the one I like, what's her name? Katana. When she gets on it, that's
She's
her name
badass.
is Katana. She traps people's soul. Are we gonna see that? No.
It's not getting killed by her. She kills nobody the rest of the movie.
But it was you talk about embarrassing. You know, that was embarrassing. It's obvious. Like, wow, they just. And I'm surprised that was as sort of as entertaining as it was. You know, the Batman scenes were cool in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I loved Suicide Squad in the theater. I saw it like Thursday night, and it was like a relatively small showing. And like he was doing the thing, he was like, "My daughter's gonna know her dad. It's not a piece of shit. This is gonna be like a chapter from the Bible." I was looking at her. I was like, "Guys, this is it. Like we did it." And
Yeah,
it was,
that
like,
Suicide
the
Squad
third
did
time
better.
I watched it.
Suicide Squad did better than BVS. They made more money.
That's a good question. I mean,
think
they had
so.
different budgets. And
I don't know.
I think it did better. Like it didn't break $1 billion, but like
Yeah.
it did.
Because the movies technically aren't flops. They just didn't meet their expectation of everybody wants $1 billion.
Yeah,
They
Suicide
didn't
Squad
hit
was
that
a
number.
financial success. I know people like normies. That's why I call them normies. Like I worked with a dude who swears up and down. Like he loved Suicide Squad. He's like, that's like the best movie version of the Joker, hands down. Like he just loved the movie for what it was. So it was kind of the opposite thing, where it was like normal people loved it, but like comic book heads were like, is this a film? Like, is this a?
That's weird how that works. That's it's so weird how that works, man. You get like these real, intellectual, sophisticated, just cinephiles, and they break things down, and you expect them to completely like trash the movie, and then they like have like Suicide Squad is their number one movie, and the worst movie is Man of Steel, and it's just like weird how that works.
It's the one that's grown on me the most over the years, because it was hands down my most anticipated movie that year, like 2013. Like I went in to go see it, like this is it. It's The Dark Knight again. Like I was just ready, like. I wasn't like let down. I wasn't disappointed, but it just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. Like it was a lot of like punching. It's just what I remember in the theater. I was like, dude, there's so much just them punching each other and like exploding each other. And then like, what if I punch you into this building? It's like, well, not if I throw you into this building. And then it's like the whole part like where they call for Superman to come down and then he does. And there's still an hour left in the movie after that, and then that whole hour is all fights. Like that's just all like the army fighting the alien girl and the alien girl blowing up the helicopter and doing all like it's not bad. And like I said, it's grown on me over the years. I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty great. It's pretty epic.
So,
but
to answer, who asked the question?
That's
I'm sorry,
perfect word for
I just
Snyder's
talk
trilogy.
until someone tells me to stop talking.
Nick, shut the fuck up.
The box office stuff. Batman v Superman on a $250 million budget. That made
like 8 something worldwide.
Yeah, it made almost 800 million worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah, 873 million worldwide. Suicide Squad on a $175 million budget made 746 million worldwide.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the domestics were almost the same. 330 domestic for BBS and 325 domestic for Suicide Squad.
That's it. You can't really attribute that to anything but word of mouth. Like that was the thing. Like they were sitting back, just like Batman and Superman. Like look at them on the same poster. Look at God. Look at this. And they were just like, this was never gonna fail. And then like it was just word of mouth, and so they freaked out. Like they didn't know what to do. There were people that left the theater and were like, "Hey, this sucked." Like there were people that hated Batman vs Superman.
Oh
Still.
Yeah, and I get actually like funny enough that you mentioned it. Like that was one of the questions I was going to ask you guys. Does this Snyder cut? Does it put Batman vs Superman in a different perspective? Because I got quite a bit DMs in my inbox saying like, dude, Batman vs Superman makes even more sense now. Dude, Batman vs Superman is like so much more appreciated now. Like it's just back to what Randy was saying. His point is how Zack Snyder, the way his storytelling was. Like I see what you're saying, Nick, about what you expected out of Man of Steel. Like you're just he tells a story, and if you watch Batman vs Superman, Kal-El's like journey to his dad was trying to hammer into his head about the importance of what you do as far as like when the world finds out who you are, and trying to tell him like how imperative it is to look deep down inside yourself and understand how important you are to the universe, to the world, and what that's going to do to you. And Batman, sure enough, Batman versus Superman, that's all they do is talk about him. And as far as, how does he act? How does he decide, who he's going to save and when he's going to save it on his watch, and who gets to live, who gets to die. And these are all just life lessons that his dad was trying to, explain to him the entire the entire Man of Steel movie. And it's just pretty cool how just like that all like just coincides with one another. And as far as, the message that he's trying to deliver. And you see that like when I watch Batman or Superman, I watch Man of Steel. It's just like it's really cool the way these movies are broken down and how Snyder tells them. Because now I like back to what I was saying. This Batman or Superman, it means a lot to people all of a sudden, and then people are talking about it again. And it's just pretty cool how that works. So I just, like I said, Sigmund, I don't know if you can answer this. Does BVS put a different, perspective on you as far as that after watching the Snyder Cut?
No, kind of. And it's funny, you mentioned how Snyder was going about explaining these movies. The people for real are reacting how the people in BVS are reacting to Superman. Like, oh, he wouldn't in Man of Steel. Like, oh, Superman broke his neck, and what was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
In BVS, those are the people that are, it kind of tightens the perspective of how Superman would be perceived in the modern world. He wouldn't be celebrated universally like Christopher Reeve's Superman in that universe. And I think it does it helps the other movie story wise become tighter or whatever. And yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I know that's kind of probably like a backwards, way of looking at, like, the movie shouldn't have to be picked up by its successor, like, coming up, but it's just like I don't know, like, I just makes you look back at those other movies and it's just like, man, it just kind of has a little bit more of an impact, and it kind of has a more cohesive way of them tying them together. And
right, but there's nothing wrong with reevaluation of any movie. If you go back, and if another movie gives you incentive to do that, that's awesome, I think. And I think that's what happens with these, or happened, or whatever.
Cool. Yo, we close enough to an hour. Let me pause it right quick. All right, we've covered like half of the things that I wrote down that I wanted to hit on. Eric, man, you sent something in the group chat the other day. That somebody said something that Snyder's movie was a director's cut. So I wanted you to like hit on, because I didn't get to see the story. It was gone by the time I had watched the movie. So hit on the difference between a director's cut and what this movie is.
Yeah. No, I was just touching. Hector actually sent me this. Some they won't get a shout out on the pod, but some
don't be mean
person.
Yeah, man, don't get me in trouble, bro. You're gonna cancel me out, bro.
No.
I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna have like 4 followers. It's gonna be you 3 and probably my little brother.
No, just some person had was misunderstanding what an actual director's cut is compared to a different version of a movie. And so something I didn't say in the video. It's a video. You can go check it out. I just made it as a story too. But Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Justice League from 2017 has 2 separate IMDb entries. It's 2 different movies, Either movie might have one or a half dozen scenes in it from the other, but it's technically it's made by 2 different directors. Whedon reshot 80% of that movie, So no, it's not a director's cut. It's 2 different movies, just like The Exorcist. I use that as an example. The prequels, they made Dominion prequel to The Exorcist first, and they reshot 90% of it. That became Exorcist the beginning. 2 different movies, 2 different directors, same story.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just.
I should point out, both are like B minuses.
Yeah.
Well, yo, if what we got in theaters was Zack Snyder's movie, this one wouldn't be called Zack Snyder's Justice League. It'd be called Justice League, the director's cut.
And the only reason they didn't take away his name, and I mentioned this, I think, in my podcast. So, Directors Guild of America rules, to get a director's credit, you have to shoot 50% or more footage that will be in the final cut of the movie. So Whedon said, to avoid controversy, I'll just take a writer's credit. But that is Whedon's movie, the theatrical.
Yeah, that makes me sad. You said directed by Zack Snyder. It's like,
yeah, really? Was it really?
Out of a 2-hour mandate, shit.
Yeah, 2 hours with credits, so the movie is even shorter than 2 hours.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it is. I remember seeing it in the theater, thinking like, I half of me was thinking like, God, that was so rushed. Like they really rushed. And the other half of me was thinking like, I guess they pulled it off, because I was like, I gave a shit. But at the end, I was like, Iron Man. I liked it.
Yeah. And now we know.
I guess it worked. That's Zack Snyder said. He did that Variety interview, and he said he has not seen the theatrical version. Like people,
who told him not to watch it?
Yeah,
Nolan.
It's Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, and his wife. They said it'll break your heart to watch it.
They were like, don't show him that. So like he said he hadn't seen it, and he said, they were telling him he had to cut this, he had to cut that. And he said, well, how am I supposed to introduce these characters in 2 hours? And then he like paused, and he said, well, I guess you can. I guess they did. That's what I was like, they did. Like in defense of that. Like it's not god awful. Yeah. Like they introduced them all. Yeah. It just again I say seeing what they took out versus knowing exactly what they added in. It's like you really like thought like the Flash Superman race was the mid-credits scene, like that was it for you. Like let's do a cute little thing. Like it was cute, like it's funny or whatever, but I'm like, you really had this and you were like, nah, this needs way more cheeky humor. Right. This at the end of the fight.
And let's touch on another thing about those damn studio greed. So why did they mandate the movie to be 2 hours under? Money.
Yeah, like that was it. Just so it could have more showings. Like that's the only thing I can think of. Like,
and also, why did they not wait until Henry Cavill just finished Mission Impossible to shave his damn face? Now, once again, greed. So when you set, a lot of people don't know, when you set a release date, that's a slot. That's a slot that's chosen out. Anybody can get that slot if you with the same movie company. So if you set a date and you make that date, these studio execs get bonuses.
Yeah.
So the reason they didn't push the date because they wanted their money. They could have pushed it. They could have waited and had him not have a horrible CG hamster face.
Bro, yeah. The next DC movie scheduled was Aquaman. 13 months later, they could have easily pushed Justice League to the summer.
But they wanted that November 27th, and they could have waited. But it's 17th. A lot of the stuff is them shooting themselves in the foot. Yep. And another thing, we talk about Junkie XL, great composer, and I just want to say this about Danny Elfman. I don't blame anybody for taking the job. I like money too, but he didn't have time to. That score was rushed, uninspired.
Yeah.
For the theatrical version, because look at the classic scores that Danny Elfman's made. This dude that gave us the '89 Batman score, the Spider-Man,
the Simpsons.
A lot of classic themes. I don't know about y'all.
Beetlejuice.
I only make $5 an hour, so I'm not turning down any
you rich
paychecks. But yeah, seriously, it's a real generic, uninspired score.
Yeah, man. It definitely the difference was definitely impactful. Like even like the Flash Batman meet.
Oh yeah,
that score it made that scene like we're like, are they really gonna show this the same exact? But it wasn't. It was the same, but it wasn't. Like man, that music made that.
It's
that
crazy
scene,
how it works.
Pretty damn. Yeah. It's
and like you said, how your girlfriend might not be the big on movie scores and composers, she still noticed.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's like and it's not like like he brought back the Batman like the theme from the Tim Burton movies. It's like like they I remember they like posted about that like that was cool. Like hey, Batman fans, you're gonna
nostalgia,
get
baby.
That in there because he didn't have time to like honest to God score.
Yeah, so, that makes a lot of sense.
They're fighting and they're like, oh, here's Batman, just queued up. Like they just played the Burton score. I think it's cool. I didn't hate it, but it was just like this is a more fully. That's what I take away from this. It's not that it's amazing. It's just a more fully realized production, like from start to finish. It's like, oh, this is a film. This is a beginning, a middle, and an end of a movie, and not just like duct tape and bubblegum.
Yeah, man. Like they went in, and I remember complaints after 2017. It's like scene and then the cut to with no explanation. Zack Snyder thoroughly went into all of this explanation, showed you like Silas, like we said earlier, Silas snatching up the mother box, heating it up so they could find it, instead of Steppenwolf just snatching it off the car, and then You know, Batman, like Superman never asked him if Batman bleeds. It didn't even fit. He's human. He's not Kryptonian. Of course, Batman bleeds.
Yeah,
Something's bleeding. The humor in this works.
that
Like, I remember, I want to say after the theatrical movie come out, the What's Your Superpower? I'm Rich. I think I heard people complain that like Whedon like put that in there. Batman, Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne has like 2 or 3 of those financial flex jokes that hit. Like the humor in this work too. And is something else that Snyder did just way better.
They put in little quips like that. That's like I almost understand, but it's like in the beginning he meets Aquaman and he says, "You're Arthur Curry, also known as the Aquaman." And it's like Joss Whedon saw that and was like, "Nope, don't like that. Here you talk to fish."
Yeah.
and just little,
but it's like, why did you think that was better than just the Aquaman? It's like he is. Let me meet him. Let me meet the Aquaman. Like we're gonna talk to him.
It was a little insignificant things too that Whedon put in, like when he took a drink and the algae is on his hand. Okay, you spent $200,000 to shoot a scene with him.
Yeah.
Sledgehammer this whole thing.
He makes Bruce ask him again. I mean, do you talk to fish? I'm like,
I'm saying, how is that of use to your problem? Like, I'd be like, okay, do you have a fish issue? Why?
Yeah, it's just the humor. Yeah, so we could just turn into a Wheaton bashing session, but
let's do it.
No, the scene in the when they're rescuing the people from the parademons and his repeated joke from Age of Ultron where he falls on Wonder Woman. They put that in, but this just came out, or I just saw it last night. The scene in Snyder Cut where the Flash stops the debris from falling.
Yeah,
that was one of the actual scenes that was finished, like back then. And Whedon, the rumor is Whedon took it out because he thought people was too stupid to know what he was doing.
Wow.
I think that's a lot of this. I think like you said something about like the Warner Brothers people said it was unwatchable. I think we got a bunch of people who like not to separate, the factions of people in life, but it's like people who just they weren't committed to comic book lore. Like they were just like Justice League. I think that's Batman and Superman, right? Like that's, the team. And that was it. And they sat down and was like, what is this? Like they weren't ready for a complex anything and like I said, I get it. It's a 4-hour movie and a lot of the stuff with like Darkseid and Steppenwolf and a lot of that can be like a lot to process. Like you're trying to pay attention. No. But it's like your response was to just cut it out. Like that was your
Yeah, I mean, I get that to a point, but I mean, we can understand the complexities of, which I still don't, of a movie like Doctor Strange, and you have to buy into exactly what they're trying to tell you as far as how his spells and how the magic, like, I would think that would be a little bit more difficult than, what Flash using, his powers to save a bunch of folks. But I mean, it's just, it is what it is, but there's just far more things that you have to like really Google after watching like a Marvel movie or just other superhero. The point is there's been far more confusing things than the Flash fucking saving people from.
He's fast.
Yeah, there was never I just push people and run away. Like he got them out of there.
By the way, that scene gave me fucking chills, man. When how he dodged the parademons and the way he did it, and the door, that shit was awesome. That's what I wanted to see, and that
was in the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. Those were one of the many scenes that were in the trailer that they didn't even, put in the movie. Like, it was just, that was a badass scene. And
they used Snyder stuff for the trailer, but didn't put it in the movie.
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, I gotta ask y'all a question. Just like Nick has been speaking on, just the little things that Whedon took the time to reshoot, just little things, especially when Superman is fighting the League. So in the Snyder version, to me, Superman seemed a little bit more menacing. And when he's trying to go, and they added a lot of that fight back when he sees Batman, and even a look when he lit, and then Wonder Woman, they're trying to stop him from getting the Batman.
Yeah.
And then the whole, with the gauntlets and something's broken. Really?
Yeah. And dude, you just reminded me, bro. That scene where he comes back, he looks at Bruce, he looks at Batman.
Yeah.
Like the Whedon, like they're really insulting the audience. Like my girl was like, "Oh shit!" That's all she said. Henry looks at Batman. Excuse me. Superman looks at Batman, and she's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
And like we know what he did to him. Like we know what happened. Like you don't have to go like in the Whedon. Josh Whedon's like, "I know you." Like
yeah.
It's just crazy what like a simple line would what it does. Like
show don't tell. Yeah.
That scene too.
Yep.
Whedon made it sound like Lois was brought in as like insurance, and she just was in the neighborhood with Snyder's cut.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was doing her daily thing.
She would have had a reason to be there. Her bringing a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. That was so well done. Yes, exactly. That was.
Oh, and also, you guys know who the cop was?
Wasn't it Christopher Reeve's Jimmy Olsen?
Yeah, it was Jimmy Olsen from Christopher Reeve, and also Marty McFly's brother.
Oh wow!
Oh, sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
like, he goes up and says, "Do you bleed?" It's like, oh, so you remember you like, oh, so you're fine, like you're Superman. Like the whole thing is like, he doesn't
right. It's a good point. I didn't think of that.
And it's like he said, "Do you bleed?" It's like, oh, so you remember that specific time in
Yeah.
your life?
You don't let me live. You don't let me die.
Pet cemetery.
Look what they did to my face.
No, and then that's another thing that I thought was really badass was the Batman's armor, how he used Kryptonian, tech.
With the
I thought that was badass.
Yeah, that was dope.
And that whole exchange with Alfred and Wonder Woman, that was so freaking cool, man.
Jeremy Irons was great.
Yeah, dude, he's great as Alfred, dude. He's really great.
Got to shine in this version. Like I
Yep.
said,
Yep.
everybody had something to do.
Yeah.
Even Adam and Lane, everybody had something to do, a reason for being there, and they got the benefits of the 4 hours.
After Superman's mom visited Lois and then walked out of the crib, I said, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
I'm sure I was I was like, wait, like I was like, stop it.
And
I think
that
was strictly. I think that was just particularly fan service, but because it was just really short, and I think it was more. Because they said that, and Snyder did say like he wanted initially Green Lantern, and they said no, so he like fought them, and they just still was like no, so he's like, well, he just said I'll just fill in Martian Manhunter as a filler, but
that's what I wanted to hit on that too. Like they've said like 3 or 4 ideas that Warner Brothers shot down. Like he wanted to use Jon Stewart. He wanted to bring Superman back with a mullet, like in the comics, and then he wanted Superman and Lois' son to be the next Batman or something.
Right.
Yeah.
He literally had like storyboards for all those ideas. He had the storyboard of Manhunter coming out the apartment. He got to do it. I'm glad, but yeah, it's just.
Yeah, I read on YouTube there's actually a leaked script that said that Lois and Superman's son was actually Batman's seed. Like the Bruce and Lois had an affair.
They shot that down. We talked about that before.
Yeah, and then but yeah, no. Back to the whole scene with Batman and Superman. Back to like the gauntlet. Like I think it gave a character, like how just something as simple as a gauntlet, like in the way they just described it with Jeremy Irons, like just shit like that, man. It's just the Snyder stories, man.
So I guess I don't know. We won't be getting the job for a while.
Nah, there's no way.
Right now, imagine being.
You could be a fly on the wall.
Finish the movie. Yeah, it's like I keep saying, I've repeated, but it's not even so much what they cut out. It's that they cut out everything, acted like the movie was this travesty, and added in all this
Yeah.
stuff that they just thought was
And
better.
I'm surprised we didn't talk about the first scene of the theatrical version.
Yeah. That.
The kids recording the video with Superman.
It's like
him looking with the hamster mouth.
Oh, God.
Like I get to an extent why you would think that that's a good scene. It's like, oh, like this was man. It's like
But the thing that could have made that work,
but it's
probably if he would have bookended.
yeah.
Yeah,
like,
had they
it's
come
just
up,
there,
come
you
back
know nothing else
around.
about it. Yeah.
I just have cut out the meaty stuff that they cut out to insist that was. It's like, no, we're gonna cut out this whole thing where his final scream is what sets off the mother boxes across the globe.
Yeah,
It's
let me
like-
ask y'all that. I forgot. Just that quick. How the mother boxes in the theatrical version, they just turned on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Steppenwolf tells her, like, you know, he does say, like, I see now why he called me. The Kryptonian's death, you know, is, you know, was a key to that. But, like, it wasn't done the way, executed the way, you know, the beginning of the Snyder Cut, why.
So more show don't tell in the Snyder Cut. They had that clunky exposition. That's how they did it in the theatrical version. Basically, what you're saying.
Yeah, he had this really, what are the Oedipus complex with the mother boxes in the first one? Like, ooh, I see mother. Like, yes, mother. Like, it was like so weird.
Yeah.
It was like you thought that this.
we've learned that Joss Whedon is a weird
Let's hear
dude.
the awesome scene of Cyborg learning how to fly and replace that with couldn't do this yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. Then like the whole thing, not to like gloat on myself, not to brag, just briefly. Holt McCallany, he's a pretty famous character actor.
Yeah.
Follows me on Instagram. I followed him. He's in Fight Club. He's in lots of things.
No flex.
He plays the like bank robber guy in the theatrical version of Justice League where he's on the roof with Batman. That scene makes no sense. That scene makes no sense. And I knew when I saw that in the theater, he didn't hype the movie up at all on Instagram. Like he didn't say like, dude, I got a movie coming out. It's the biggest movie of all time. Maybe you've heard of it. Like he didn't hype up that he was in it whatsoever. And I had no idea he was in it. And I went and saw it and I was like,
Hey, that's my Instagram friend.
and I was like sitting there trying so hard to make sense out of
what was happening.
and it never happened. Like I was like, I feel like they're explaining something to me. I feel it, and it's not coming across. Like they got rid of all this stuff.
Yeah, like, and speaking of gauntlets, Hector, he's hanging him over the building, and he has this like thing on his gauntlet that he never ever uses again.
Yeah. I guess it's parademon tractor. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. What the? He just happens to.
Got a
Bro,
parademon tractor.
Even that, like Snyder took the time to explain how the parademons even come to be.
They're just there, and he's like, yeah, they want your fear.
Yeah.
Because of my nightmare, my dream told me all this.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, that's funny that Steppenwolf in Whedon's version doesn't even die, does he?
No.
He just gets dragged away.
Yeah.
I'm scared now.
In this one.
But that was another badass shot too. Like Wonder Woman cut his head off. It goes through the portal.
Yeah.
Darkseid squashes that shit, and they're just looking at him like, come through,
Well,
bitch. We'll
first of all,
fuck you up too.
They were like,
Yeah, they just had like that team pose, like, come through, we'll fuck your ass up too. Oh man, it's so good.
Like that was one of the things that was obviously better. I was like, dude, I wouldn't have traded that for anything. Just them standing there like the mafia. They were just like,
yeah, but
the Russian family, like, what was that? I still don't know what significance they served.
Dude, somebody asked Snyder about it. Snyder had no clue what they were talking about.
You know, like,
he said, "What family?" I remember that
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah, no, seriously, what family?
what was the point? It's like, I understand. You think this is an easier way to tell this story. They were going to go back and there's just a less convoluted, less self-indulgent way we can do this. You didn't do it. Like, you went back,
Right.
it was an iPhone video. It's a family. It's a bank
Bro,
robber
it's
on a...
watching that movie, it's like, how did this guy make 2 Avengers movies?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
Joss
but-
Whedon as a filmmaker, as like a producer or whatever, I mean, you know, maybe he's a scumbag. But I mean, if he starts from the ground up with something like, you know, we were talking about, he was supposed to do a Batgirl movie. Batgirl movie might have been great. I don't know.
Yeah.
If he brought some of his start from the ground up and do his own thing. But
Yeah.
like coming in, redoing someone
Yeah.
else's.
You can't make that's what I called it a post-it note studio exec gumbo. You can't, no matter how good of a filmmaker you are, it's like Scorsese trying to reshoot Robert Zemeckis movie.
It's just
It's
gonna
just
your
styles
clash.
mesh. They don't mesh really. Like, yeah, they clash, but
Yeah, instead of coming in and trying to make it a seamless transition, like, okay, they want me to cut half of this movie, they want me to put some other stuff. You went and did like your whole thing. It's like throwing paint on the wall. Like, it was just like, and fuck you. Like,
Right.
you're gonna race at the end. It's gonna be hilarious. You're gonna laugh. It's like, I guess.
So I'm curious, what's everybody's final rating for the movie?
I
assuming
gave it
we all use the same scale.
a 4 out of 5.
Excellent.
I also gave it a 4 out of 5. It's not a 4.5. I never get 5s.
I almost gave it a 4.5.
Yeah,
But
the
it's better
infamous.
than the theatrical version.
No, man, that's funny.
I'm gonna give it like a 4.7 out of 5.
Yes. You gonna get that 5-star movie, Nick, one day.
Hey, you ain't off the hook, Eric?
It's just, it's rare. Like,
Now, I got less than, I don't know, probably 10, but
No, I had
this would be
had
one
Batman been an alcoholic and hung himself in the garage, Nick would have gave it a 5.
that's art. That's cinema.
That's
And then they
cinema.
just go,
Did you guys notice though? Speaking of Affleck and alcohol, did you guys notice the difference of how he looked in the back cowl in the nightmare scene,
Yeah.
and even that end scene that way with Martian Manhunter? He looks great, but he wasn't like all bulked up and
I
swole
even
and stuff.
want that. Like,
He
not
looked
to be weird,
different
like,
after he woke up.
Martian-
Yeah.
I didn't notice that he looked a little different in the Martian Manhunter in scene.
I thought he looked great, and I was like, this is weird to think. But I was watching, I was like, he looked great.
But speaking of Man of Steel is one of my 5-star movies. I think Randy too, right?
They
Yeah.
I'm a firm 3.5. Oh man,
Oh man, that's messed up.
nah,
But
But no, I mean,
Man of Steel is
Yeah.
amazing.
Justice League to that.
I've given
That's
Snyder
right.
2 5s.
that's where I am with like Watchmen. I think the theatrical Watchmen is like a 3.5. Like, it's really good, but I don't like love it. And then I think the ultimate cut of Watchmen is like a 4.5. I think it's so much better than that. So I give Watchmen a 4. Like, I treat that as like a director's cut. I'm like, yeah, this is stuff. It makes sense that they didn't release it in theaters this way, but
Yeah.
added it. Just better. So that's one that I give like a 4. It's like a half a movie.
Well,
If you the ultimate cut of Watchmen, you should watch it.
hopefully
a lot.
one day we'll be reviewing David Ayer's Suicide Squad
Shit, hopefully.
in another year.
Do we think that is that much better though? Like, really?
I do
Like-
think they I mean, even the first, remember the very first trailer of Suicide Squad,
I do.
the,
Vividly.
the difference in tone that was to the other one with the colors and shit.
The trailers, I thought all the trailers for Suicide Squad were great, but it was just like there was so much stuff that
Yeah.
wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
Lots of
I think there's still a decent performance of the Joker left on the floor.
Yeah.
we have to know now. Like, how could
Yeah.
dude? That was so good. I don't even. People are saying it's the best Batman Joker interaction, and it's like, no.
Yeah, they going over me.
Yeah.
It's great. It's
But it's
awesome.
great.
Man, it's a,
I love like that was
Yeah.
if there was one part of the
Yeah.
movie where I was like glued,
you're right.
not paying attention to anything else, it was that because I was like, This is all I wanted for like 5 years.
But
Like,
it's
yeah.
not line, but
That was
wasn't it?
bad.
Yeah.
I was glad it was cute in the trailer. But
Right.
I was like, we don't need shit to say we live in a society. But dude, that shit was so good. I was like, how do you have Academy Award winner Jared Leto, Academy Award winner Ben Affleck? You got them. They're here, and they've not met yet.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not mad at that Joker laugh. Like, I'm like, you want him to laugh just like Heath Ledger, and you want him to laugh just like Jack Nicholson. Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I'm all like, it's cool. Like, it's not terrible. Like, I like it. It's different. Like, I don't want more of something I've seen before.
He clearly can't do a cackle. Like, he probably tried it. He probably can't do it. I'd rather him do that than
Right.
like shitty cackle. It worked. Like I said, like I didn't love it in Suicide Squad. It worked perfectly in this, where they were like talking and he just starts laughing.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I think it's funny that potential evil Superman was wearing the regular Superman suit and not the black one.
Yeah.
That's
like,
so
man.
good. I want to see that.
Yeah.
I would have. See, and again, I think he just put that on this because he just doesn't. You know, he's like, who knows if that'll ever come to fruition.
Hopefully they'll tackle some of it in the Flash
They
movie.
would do that, and this scene hadn't even been in this movie. Like, it could have just been like a brief little nightmare thing, kind of like Batman versus Superman, which made no sense at the time. Like you guys were talking earlier about like watching that in a different light. Like the whole thing with the Flash coming back and talking,
Right.
and like he's wearing that suit.
Right.
And if you don't know that in 2016 you're watching that, like, what the fuck? What am I looking at?
I can see how that could definitely confuse a lot of people. First, he have the dream, then because I think it was meant to confuse him. Also, he had a dream, and then the Flash immediately contacts him. He probably thought that was using it, but I got being a Flash fan, I know Flashpoint story and all that, so I immediately knew what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's understandable. People got confused at that.
And it was cool how he told Wonder Woman about that dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, I can see a Warner Brothers studio exec, late 50s, early 60s, doesn't know shit, is sitting there, and he's like, what is happening? Why is he wearing a trench coat all of a sudden? And it's like, you have to, like, explain it. And then you have the whole thing where it's like, they're like, okay, a normal person isn't going to understand that, so ergo it's bad. It's like, no, you don't have to cut it. Just people liked Inception. Like, people went and watched Inception and loved it. Like, it's like, we can trust moviegoers to comic books. I was like, these are children's characters. Like, we can trust people to go in and, I don't know.
But I think that you just hit the correct word, children, and I think, like Sigmund was saying, it's money. Like, they're like thinking like, would a kid want to buy this? Like, if they want to go, what they think the marketing. Like, I don't think the kid would like this. You know, let's put a trench coat on Batman. How about let's add wings on it. You know, like, come on, it's so stupid. They just want to do whatever they want to market it. They want to make money, and that's clearly what they're doing with the Whedon Cut. Let's market it for like kids, and it failed miserably. And
I don't know how much or who even would do, or do they do the research. Obviously, as we sit here, the hot toys and the sideshow collectibles, there's obviously a huge adult following. You know what I'm saying?
That shit. Look at Deadpool, bro. Look at Deadpool.
Yeah.
That should have been like that should have been like the turning point of a darker rated R movies and superhero genre. Like, it can be done.
You would think, you would think like Joker made $1 billion in 2019. They would think, maybe we're onto something. Maybe we could.
Yeah, for sure.
Birds of Prey, I guess, was rated R. That was Birds of Prey. Nobody knew what that was. But I was like, they would think, oh, well, maybe this is what people want to see. Logan, like, this is what people. There's a market of people that want to see this specific version of these characters. So I don't know. I don't even know. Like, what is for sure next with the DC EU, if it's even that? Is
James Gunn's Suicide Squad?
Oh yeah,
Well,
that comes out what, June?
August.
And then the Flash, right?
like after that.
I think the Flash right now is scheduled for November of 2022.
Wow, yeah.
Wow, and that'll
So
be
it's just Suicide Squad, right?
Yeah, I think they got some decisions to make. Whether I don't know if the script will change for the Flash movie, but if they're like gonna just completely not bring her back, I think they're gonna give it the Flash. But I think they'll probably be either rescheduling or they're going to be some definitely creative changes in the Flash movie if Snyder's staying. I don't know.
With the success of this, and they've already announced the Supergirl's in it. We're assuming that she's just replacing Cyborg. I wonder how that shit's going to play out.
Yeah, man, they got a lot of work to do up there as far as creative choices and differences and.
I just feel like that people talk about like Zack Snyder's version isn't canon. I'm like, how? Why?
Yeah.
Why not? The biggest difference to me, like that stood out, was Mira having an accent and Volca looking like a little older. It's like, he had a ponytail and Aquaman. Like, it's not that. Oh my god! Like, it's not weird. Like maybe she lost her accent because she was bad at doing it. That's it. Like, to me, that was the biggest difference. Like, I could watch Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, or whatever that order is, and then watch this, and it just like is the next one, and then watch Aquaman after this.
Yeah.
I have no issue. I have no issues with Shazam being a part of it. It's like, and meanwhile, down the street, this is happening, and it's like, I don't have a problem. Like, you can adjust the tone a little, find a happy medium. It's like they don't want to find a happy medium. They just want to obliterate what he set up with Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. It's like Superman's not supposed to be funny. Like, could be, but he's not supposed to be hilarious and neon color. Batman's not supposed to be funny. The Flash. Shazam is fun. I don't know. Like I said, maybe I'm an asshole. But I'm thinking of it as canon until I'm slapped in the face with something that says otherwise. Like, until they say Robert Pattinson is Ben Affleck. Like, that's the same Batman and that's what we're doing. No. In my head, that's a completely separate movie that's about to come out in its own.
No, that's what it is. That's what they said it is.
Affleck
is coming back in the Flash movie.
Yeah, and I want Ben Affleck to just keep doing it.
Right. And then he's passing it on to Michael Keaton, right? He'll be moving forward the main Batman. Is that what they said?
There's no confirmation on what they're doing, but obviously the Flashpoint storyline is going to happen in Flash movie.
Yeah,
but we'll see how they go with it.
Yeah, I think after the Flash, Affleck's done.
I have expectations for a Flashpoint movie. I expect Jeffrey Dean Morgan to be in it.
But he won't.
All of this stuff, and Warner Brothers are just sitting somewhere like, this makes no sense. Why are there 3 Batmans? This makes no sense. I'm just like, I know they're somewhere screwing it up, trying to make it fun.
Yeah. Like, Ezra Miller's like that quirky dude. Like, it's gonna be funny.
Yeah, like his joke, like I said, his jokes don't feel out of place.
No.
Like, you need to have a funny. They cut down on Aquaman's funniness, but even like,
that was one of my favorite improvements.
Yeah,
his demeanor compared to the rest of the league was funny. Like,
I like Ezra Miller's jokes in Justice League a lot more. Like when Gordon came, he's not gonna fit. Is he coming? Because he's not gonna fit in your car anymore.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
He's the kid, and I was like, this is he's naturally gonna be funny. They all walk in and meet Alfred, and everyone's like, hello, and he's just like, I was like, that's funny. That's natural comedy. We don't have to force in.
Now I gotta ask y'all a question.
Now,
because I don't think it works this way. Whedon put that scene in his version with where Aquaman is sitting on Wonder Woman's lasso.
Yeah.
And it's making him talk. Now, I was under the impression that Wonder Woman has to command him to say certain things, and it works that way.
That's what she did in that heist
Because
when the dude was telling her about the bomb.
Right, like that, and even the first Wonder Woman movie, but in Whedon's, Aquaman just sat on it, and it started making him be honest.
Yeah.
And it was so clunky. It's like, yeah, that's cute. It's a funny idea. I get it. But it's so clunky. Like, you don't even realize it's happening until after the fact. It's like,
And go watch that scene again. They're all not in the same place at the same time. Yeah, go watch it. You'll see.
Like,
It'll be real.
What was the advantage of, like, the scenes where, like, Bruce Wayne and Wonder Woman are, like, arguing? Like, what was the advantage of that?
Yeah, that scene.
Oh, he never threw that Steve Trevor dig at her.
Yeah, he never heard of you until it's like, okay,
Yeah, wow.
This is out of character. And they all react that way. They're like, why are you being an asshole? It's so out of character with the rest of, like, it's like we've been in
So I guess we agree.
and talking and we know each other very well, but now you're being an asshole now that you're surrounded by all these other guys. Like, it's like, it doesn't make sense.
But I want to run into that person that Nick speaks of.
That was Whedon putting himself in the movie, targeting the woman.
Yeah. It's like,
Oh, man. But yeah, Nick, that person you speak of, who we're going to run into him, one of the four of us, all four of us, that person that's going to defend the theatrical version over Snyder Cut.
I'm not wasting my breath or my typing. Fuck that shit. Block.
Yeah, you're probably right. But it'll probably be fun, but then it'll get real old.
But can't nobody watch both of these movies and the jokes are better, so that one's the better movie. Like, no, the fuck it's not. I'll take half a shift to work.
Some things are just, yeah.
I don't hate the theatrical version. I really don't. Like, even if, you know, with comic movies, to me, it makes me sound old. But it's just like, I really just remember the time when there were not comic movies. So really just Superman, just Batman.
Right.
It's like, okay, it's going to do Batman again. Fuck it. And it's like, we got X-Men movie. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I couldn't believe that. Now Spider-Man has fought Thanos. Spider-Man has joined Avengers 18 times. He's fought. You know, he's gonna go fight himself. It's like it's crazy. So it's easy to forget that.
I remember the dark times. I remember the 1990 Captain America.
Yeah, like, so I was like, I remember that being it. So it's hard for when a superhero movie comes out, even if it's bad, like Green Lantern. That's a bad movie. That's bad cinema. That is just not good film. I don't hate it. I'm like, you know, whatever. They made a Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
Who cares? I walked out of the theater like, oh well, whatever. Ghost Rider.
That was something.
I'm like, yeah.
We don't talk about Ghost Rider.
They would ever do that. So whatever. So it's like, I didn't hate the theatrical Justice League, thinking that was it. Like, going in, I was like, oh, I guess that was what we got. I remember the Justice League movie that they announced like 15 years ago.
George Miller.
I'm surprised nothing has leaked with that, because they were a day away from filming.
Yep.
How is nothing leaked from that? Like pictures or...
Common need to bring those Jon Stewart behind the scenes shots.
Yeah. And that didn't age. Armie Hammer was...
Armie Hammer. The first time I ever heard his name, I was like, that's a human being's name.
That's not baking soda.
Like, The Social Network maybe a couple years later, and I was like, oh, I remember. He would have been a pretty good Batman. I remember it was like Common was supposed to play Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Adam Brody was the Flash.
Yeah.
When I first heard about it, Jessica Biel was attached to be Wonder Woman, but she was not the final. I forget who the girl was that got cast. And then some dude played Superman. I can't remember.
Some dude.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember it was before The Dark Knight came out. And I was like, oh my God.
I was reading the other day have Adam Driver involved in a future DC project.
Interesting.
Yeah.
He play the Scarecrow.
I can see it.
Yeah. But I was reading an article on that comic book. I thought that would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
That's think to Warner, but you ask Warner Brothers, like, what do you got on the horizon? And they're going to be like, a million movies greenlit. But wait, no, Lynch movie. Remember that?
A Kilowog movie.
Aquaman came out and they said, yeah, doing a spin-off. It's called The Trench.
Dude, if they were smart, they could build like their own cinematic universe just within like all the Lantern stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're like scratching the tip of the iceberg with that. They're just like, whatever. We did it once and it was a catastrophe.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on, man. But I gotta get going. All right, bro.
Yeah. I was trying to find a place to wrap it up anyway. In 2 weeks, man, we'll probably talk Godzilla versus Kong. I'll come up with a more concrete idea. Hector, man,
Sure.
I appreciate you jumping in with us.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate the invite. I'm gonna go see that one in theaters too. Mortal Kombat 2. I don't know if you guys have theaters open in your area, but I'm going straight to theaters for all those.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah. I'm playing it by ear.
But
I do have open ears now.
It's Rec League, man. Stay tuned. Hey yo, chip on my shoulder. I spit murder so you can't dip when it's over. If I get on the mic, then it's done. I ask why they call me Neo. They say, bro, cause you the one. I ask, like Jason Statham or Jet Li. Nah, they reply, Keanu Reeves, mad respect, B. I don't need 1 or 2, I just jump to step 3. Too many bitches that wanna sex me. I tell them I'm busy, but maybe next week. Then I never call. I go straight from the summer to the winter, cause I never fall. The bars is clever, y'all. I stay taking my cut, cause I keep the cleaver close. My dogs know I stay cooking, and whatever lame I see first is gonna be the roast. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Now Tommy, on the other hand, you don't understand. Let me get the rubber band. Trained to march, but I wasn't in the other band. Soldier shit. You gotta go back home to know that she soldier shit. They keep saying that I'm nasty, but I'm supposed to spit. And chill until the next episode.